Welcome back. My name is Gregory Tucker, and we're going to pick up where we left off with Stanley Burke after this.
Yeah, Nightbeat Media, we in here. We living the dream, turning my dream to reality. Young entrepreneurs determine their own salaries. Yeah, they try to hold us back, but I'ma let you know, we ain't waiting for a welcome in, we kicking the dough, yeah. Live the dream, you know we live in the dream. Ain't no limits to our vision, Nightbeat, that's the team, ayy. Live the dream, you know we live in the dream. Ain't no limits to our vision, Nightbeat, that's the team, hold up.
Success of the deal and everything, and we went our separate ways. I raised up a studio up in Columbus, so I talk about mentoring. Immediately went back to recording a lot of different artists from Dayton as well as Columbus, so I got a chance to work with a whole lot of different artists that went on to become successful in what it was they was doing. But there's one particular kid that I worked with in Columbus was 5 years old. His mama and his stepdad brought me out to their house. They stayed in Reynoldsburg. And she told me that, I heard about you writing and everything. I want you to take my son and get him together and get him some music. And that's Shad Moss, who actually was Lil Bow Wow. Oh. He wasn't called Lil Bow Wow at this particular time. This was late 90s, before the 2000s. He had some writers, other rappers that was cool with his family that was writing stuff for him, because he was only 5. He was a little boy. Uh-huh. And but he was the cutest kid you ever want to see, because he had personality, and they entrusted him with me. So he would come to the studio, stay with me and my crew, and we would get him together, groom him, show him how to work a microphone, show him the techniques in the studio, write songs for him, or if they brought material, we would just put the tracks to it and make it hot. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with him, and I would go out to his house and play with him with his he had remote control cars. He was always spoiled. Okay. They didn't have a lot of money, but he was spoiled. Let's go play with him with his little remote cars and eat ravioli with him out there, for real. I mean, this is the real stuff, man. And I just kind of pretty much told him everything. This is why you don't do this, show them mic etiquette and all this different stuff. Well, to make this story shorter, Snoop and Dre and them came, and they had a show in Columbus. And that was the Up in Smokes tour, and they came through Columbus. Oh. Well, the mom and them, and they took his name was called Kid Gangster. Kid Gangster was his name. He wasn't called Lil Bow Wow. He got that Bow Wow stuff from Snoop, because Snoop being the D-O-double-G. Well, we had him on Kid Gangster. That was his name, and he was a gangster. I'm talking about for real as a little kid. Oh. He didn't come from that life, but I'm telling you, he had the tone, the texture, everything. Could cuss a sailor, but was very respectful. His mom and them, they allowed him to do it for the record, because that was the genre they was trying to take him into, and they sold it. It was obvious that it worked, because they took him to the show, and they got backstage, and he flowed for Snoop. They took him out the same night. He flew out with them the same night. They left. And next thing I look up on TV, he was on Arsenio. They hadn't even signed him yet. So that was one of the moments that I said, my influence and my opinion in this game really counts. It really means something, regardless of who looks back and who gives you a thank you on the back. That ain't the point. It's the fact that when you do something good, it'll come back to you. Mm-hmm. So, that was one of the experiences of sharing it with the youth and bringing the youth in. And there's many others. There's Dr. Ease, shout out to Dr. Ease, real prominent artist that I got a chance to work with in the city. There's a whole bunch of others in the city that has done great things. Shout out to King Tun, Monstars Inc., One Breath Still Breathing. There's a movement going on with the youth, with several guys that I had got a chance to mentor and work with and collaborate with. And they got a movement going on called the One Breath Still Breathing. And it's about a collaboration of businessmen and business owners. It's got their LLCs and got their business together. They got, some of them got studios, laboratories, videography rooms, buildings, the whole thing. But they got great material and great concept, and they're doing some nice and positive things for the community and for our people and our culture. So shout out to them. And,
Well, it seems like you have so many different chapters as far as in your life right there. And that was one of the things I was going to ask you about. And that was with the mentoring component, which you received as far as when you were young, and you paid it forward by helping young people and continuously helping young people.
yes, sir.
And when you bring up that you spent the time that you spent far as in the South, in Mississippi, that if you have not seen one of this man's shows, you'll see some of those strong influences when you do the blues.
The Cadillac Slim with 2 M's, baby. I'm telling you. We got the Cadillac Slim with 2 M's for a double dose of the blues. Muddy Water style from Delta, Mississippi. Then we also got the Bishop Iru with 2 P's, Bishop with 2 P's for a double dose of this preaching, because I'm like a street preacher, television evangelist, just from the street perspective, telling them about the Most High and how and what he's done for me. That's it. That's the message. And if he has no respect to a person, if he can bring me from the mud, like they say, get it out the mud, he got me out the mud. I'm telling you, because sometimes people think, well, because you got a lot of things, you got a lot of money, you got a lot of cars, and see, if you don't have happiness and joy and passion and all that stuff on the inside before you have all those things, you just have all those things and you're still empty. The vessel is empty on the inside because you ain't got no joy. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the joy and all that stuff before you get to things. One of the I also work with some people that was connected with Diddy. Brought me into a situation with him in New York. And this is a classic right here. I forgot about this. So he was leaving Bad Boy, and he was leaving Uptown, and he was starting Bad Boy. Well, he was throwing a whole lot of parties and different promotional parties around New York. Well, I was up there with another friend of mine who's gone on, rest in peace. May rest in peace. Brought me up there for me to do some business with some of the labels. This was after the deal. And somewhere in the early 90s, well, he was working with Biggie. Okay. He was in the club that hosted the party. Biggie never came in. Well, I thought he was about ready to leave. I didn't know who Biggie was. He wasn't famous at this particular time. Well, I saw Puffy in the restroom. It was me, Kid Rock, and Puffy in the bathroom. And Kid Rock was like, well, where you head to next? And so he said, I ain't going nowhere. I'm just going to run out to the car for a minute. So I'm still using the restroom. But I said, he about to rip. So I got through doing what I did, rush up, boom. So I rush out right behind him. And he go around and get in the car, but I don't see they windows are tinted because they got them 4x4s and them blazers. So I knock on the window like, yo, don't leave. I need to holler at you. Biggie was rolling a blunt, and I scared him. So he reached for the burner and pulled the burner on me. And I swear folks switches 3 fat girls in a Rottweiler. He said, do not shoot him. Big. He said, big. Ain't cool. He was in the club. Don't shoot him. And the look in his eye and face and in that gun, it was just nothing but the Father, the Most High, that stopped him from pulling that trigger. Because this was during the time if you know anything about the history of them, this is during the time Biggs was real big in the streets. So everybody was trying to get at him. And because, like I said, if I had known there was somebody else in that car, I wouldn't have knocked on that window. But, you know, things worked out. They went on to be successful. I never got a chance to thank Diddy for that. So I'm thanking him on living the dream. I'm glad Biggie didn't shoot me. But that's just a true experience. The passion, I just would like to share this with the youth. Whatever it is you're doing, make sure you're doing it because you love it. You know, don't chase the dream so much, or chase the money so much, or the success, and chase all those things. It's going to come. Just love the passion of what you do, is your art, is your craft. Whether it's playing music, designing clothes, whatever you're doing, playing sports, computer science, whatever. Just have a passion for it, and it'll be better for you in the long run. Because even after the money gone, the love of music, it'll still be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you loved it in the at first. But thanks to Living for, I wanted to thank you on the last time. I didn't get a chance to say thanks for living the dream, for inviting me to do the podcast, and thank you, and for being, you know, a true friend through years. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's a pleasure having you here for us on the show, because it's stories like yours right there. The whole idea behind Living the Dream really is, when sharing these stories, that people are able to come away for us with something, because I believe that everybody's life has purpose, and at the same time, a lot of our stories are somewhat has a certain similarity to them.
Yeah, they do. They do, because to tell you the truth, when I was watching Emmett North's, right, and he was talking about he played with Piney Brown too, and I was like, and he older than me, so I'm like, damn, you played with Piney too? Damn, man, everybody done played with Piney. I thought I was special. No.
But that is the whole concept.
But there was a similarity, yeah. There's a lot of similarities. It's the same thing with Darren. When I heard him about how he did my music ed, right? And we played together before. He's an excellent musician, a beautiful person, all around good guy. But yeah, for him to have that and to be sharing that in a way with the youth, and then they can get so much more from it other than just how to play an instrument. Yes. You know, they get the theory and the psychology behind all that. And I'm telling you, when you have those different things to go with it, it makes the journey a whole lot better. You know, the more you understand about what it is you're doing, the better off you're going to be. Because there's more to it than just saying, I want to be a star. And I'm here to tell you, because that's what I said. I was like, if I knew all this had went with it, you know, it's just, and that's why I said do the research and be clear on what it is that you're praying for. Because be careful what you ask for, because they know you might get it. If you ask for it and you really want it, you're going to get it. But you got to know what you're getting. Because being one of the baddest musicians or accepting the title of I want to be the baddest musician is totally different than I want to be a star.
Oh.
Because there's a lot of bad musicians that's not celebrities. They're not stars. They're just bad musicians. Mm-hmm. You know, so there's a whole lot that goes with that. You know, it's easy to see people that make it look easy, but it's not easy at all.
And that's the hard part right there, is by making it look like it's easy.
Hey, it's the greats do it all the time. Just look at Steph Curry. Everybody's shooting threes, but he's shooting 100 of them straight in practice. So, and don't miss. He's not leaving the gym until he hit all 100 of them. And if you don't have that sort of tenacity, I guess one of the greatest qualities I had was my brother told me I was relentless. He was like, "You relentless." I never even knew what that word meant, but Des told me that. That's Mac. Yeah. Ken folks, he said that. He was like, "You're relentless." And then once I found out what it was about, I was like, okay, I'll take that. And that's what you got to be. You really have to be, you know, about it. Because if not, you know, There's so many traps that's designed in the industry to keep you from the pot of gold. There's traps, there's mines, there's all kind of everything to distract you, distractions to keep you from the pot of gold you're trying to go get.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So if you can just do the research, check out the terrain, check out everything, and be careful where you step, be careful, make careful moves and cautious moves,
Mm-hmm.
Let your steps be ordered by the Most High, and you won't make no false move.
Mm-hmm. Just to kind of go back, and that is that, do you believe that may have been something what you just shared, and that is looking for the landmines and so forth, as far as in the music industry? You think that may have been something that may have been kind of lacking as far as from some of the mentors, as far as during the era of the 70s and 80s when we had the Mecca here in town? Yeah,
that was missing. It definitely, because that wasn't even a part of the equation. They don't want you to know. Most of the in the music era we were in, it was a real gangster oriented as far as the business. I'm saying it was gangsters running it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people will talk about that, but that was happening. In Philly International, Motown, from Motown to up there, and even these with Ohio players with Westbound Records. It was all mafia, and they want you to be blind. We came up into the era. I was in the era of don't worry about what the paper say, just sign it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that type of era for real. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, and a lot of people paid. And a lot of people paid for it in the long run.
Hey, listen, there's a whole lot of musicians and great artists and celebrities, and I'm talking about greats, that broke. I'm telling you, they didn't get a chance to eat from the fruits of their labor. I mean, they had a little bit. They did a little bit of something, but I seen the Billie Holiday story. Oh my goodness, and she was always one of my favorite singers, but I didn't know she had her life was like it was. But that explains. Oh, let me say this one other thing. Also, do not disregard the pitfalls, the snares, the obstacles, whatever you go through in life, because they all, if you're a songwriter, if you're an artist or whatever, it brings out the best and it makes great songs. If you're in a relationship, heart getting broken or whatever, don't disregard that. Write about it. Sit down, think about it. Play, figure out some melodies. I done made my guitar cry like I was crying or like a girl was crying because I left her something. I figured out how to make that cry. And that's where I came up with that. I made the guitar sound like it's whining and all those different things.
But that is something that you bring up, and that is that they say don't run away from failure, because failure is a learning opportunity right there. And that is, as you had mentioned, sometimes in that hurt comes a masterpiece as far as of a song right there.
That's right.
So don't be afraid to risk or step out there, but at the same time, don't go out there blindly and don't do your homework, because there is a certain amount of due diligence that's still required.
Well, yeah. The game ain't changed. The players have. Uh-huh. So you gotta feel like you gotta dig that although you got the old gangsters that was running the record industries, from the Jewish to the Italians, to even the black, all of them that was running and getting their money. So now the players have changed. Game's still the same. The players are different. Now you got 18 and even younger than that, CEOs running, $1 million Fortune 5 companies and handling things. So it's on a different, it's a different level of players, you know what I mean? So, But, the more you know, the more you can go.
Okay. Now, we're getting ready to start winding this up, but I do have to ask you a couple of questions, and that is, what are you doing now? And do we see a book coming out from you, as far as your story, anytime soon?
You just spoke it into existence. I had been thinking about the concept of a book, and But kind of been trying to look for some publishers and trying to learn. What I suggested about everybody else, I'm doing my research on it now, trying to find out what all is involved and entails. But that's one piece of the puzzle. And then the other piece is we still got the Cadillac Slim tribute to the Legends of Blues event project as well. And we're doing shows. We open for shows, and we trying to get this out there, because I'm doing a tribute to the blues there, and blues had a significant impact on our culture. No. Because there was some blues songs that got people through stuff that that they felt like giving up on, and they play the blues song. And not only just blues, R&B. We just had great music coming up in our culture that if you was going through something, you can put on a song, keep your head to the sky. You're feeling that. It's like, right, look up to the sky. Yeah. That's why I hope the next big thing in music, the next big trend in music is music. All right. I hope the next big thing in music is going to be music, because we need to bring back the music and try to get that going on with, songs and stuff that not necessarily inspirational, but it could be inspirational stuff to lift you up and make you feel like you can go on another day and fight the fight. You know what I'm saying? All versus some stuff that they got out now. I don't knock anything they got out. Music is what it is. It's for this generation. We in the millennium. I just so happens to be a 60s baby. So, I had we came up, the millenniums don't know about everything from 90 on back. they stop at 2000. That's where their education starts. I mean, there are some out there that's familiar with it, but I think that the great music that we had, it should be preserved, as well as us coming together as a people and trying to state our claim and make sure that our history do not get blacked out. My dream and my goal is to make sure that, we don't get erased in this evolution and this process. So that's why I'm doing the tribute to the Legends of Blues. Okay. And not to mention, I love blues.
Okay. Now, do you have a website, or how can people who are looking to catch one of your shows, how can they find out where you're going to be next?
They can find out either on Instagram. It's Bishop Iru with 2 P's, IRU. I is for intelligence, R is for runs, U is for universe. Bishop Iru. If you reverse that, it's IRU and URI. We're one and the same. It took you 9 months to get here. It took me 9 months to get here. Same way you live, same way I live, same way we, move on. So that's what that means. You can reach me at Bishop Iru on Facebook or Instagram, and or see me somewhere in the city. I'm approachable. You know what I'm saying? If you see me, reach out to me. We're going to be coming to a club or some venue near you soon.
Product?
Yeah, we got a new product for Cadillac Slim, the Basement Blues. And Bishop Iru got some albums out that we still have, and we're trying to get into the market, get into the people's radios and DVDs and players and stuff.
So if somebody want to get a CD,
oh yeah, same thing.
Or MP3 now.
Yeah. All you gotta do is just send me a message on Messenger. On Bishop Iru with 2 P's. Don't put just Bishop with 1 P, because you ain't gonna get me. Because we got 2 P's for a double dose of this preaching. Church.
All right. Well, hey, this has been a pleasure, as always, my friend, as far as coming here and sharing with us as far as some knowledge. And one of the things that you mentioned that I really want to kind of expound on, and that is, you had mentioned, be careful what you wish for. There's an old poem I came across. It's from an anonymous, and it goes like this. And that is, let me see, it's called The Bargain. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. But at the end of the day, after counting my scanty door. That life is a just employer, gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. So I worked for menial hire, only to learn dismayed that any price I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. Thank you, Stanley Burke, for sharing with us your journey. We hope you take away this. The key to a better future is you. Your resources are always greater than you imagine them to be. Never ask, can I do this? Ask instead, how can I do this? That's a quote by Dan Zatra. So, as we wrap this up, first, we want to thank the audience for tuning in. Also, we would like to thank our guest, Mr. Stanley Burke, for honoring us with his presence here on Living the Dream. If you have a compelling story and you would like to share it here on Living the Dream, please email us. That's at gregorytucker@nightbeatmedia.tv. We do want to hear your story. When writing the story of your life, be sure you are holding the pen. Until the next time, live your dream.